Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the latest episode of Birds vs. Boys as we look forward to week 12, or Cowboys fans are not looking forward to anything, as we look at week 12 in the NFL season. First of all, can't believe it's week 12. Can't believe Thanksgiving is next week. Can believe that the Cowboys are 3-7. KMS here with my cohort, Aiden Powers, coming straight out of Eagle Land where everything's flying high. And here in Dallas, we have pieces of sheet metal falling from the roof.
What a great finale for the Cowboys. I actually totally forgot about this for you. I have a great Cowboys rant at some point today. Like you mentioned, all good in Eagles land. We're in our little mini gauntlet here. We've got Rams this week, Sunday Night Football. Hopefully we live up to the Sunday Night Football game from a week ago.
Oof.
That was a great one. At some points,
Speaking of
made
that,
no sense.
I was sitting in my bed watching that game with my wife, and I was like, you can't throw a football better than that. That was the perfect pet. Like Herbert had this one touch, and I was like, that was perfect. And she was just repeating me, making fun of me. And then they said Justin Herbert on the screen. She's like, I've literally never heard that name in my life. I'm like, what? Who are you?
This is great because we want to talk about the Eagles. We want to talk about Sunday Night Football, but it's a good jumping off point to talk about around the NFL, which we haven't gotten to do in a long time. So let's start there before we preview our games this week and just talk about what's going on with the other 30 teams. With that game, hilarious. I was 2 minutes away from jumping boat. I was like, Justin Herbert, Joel Embiid, like I might give in. They are top 5 talents and they find new ways to lose all the time. This might be it. I'm jumping off the ship. I might have had to do it. And they were like, that game was the opposite of the Chiefs-Bills playoff game where they're like, oh my God, they scored in 14 seconds. We were in laying bed watching it and we kept going, oh my God, they only took 14 seconds off the clock and they have the fun again. They're like, all right, this team now has 2 timeouts. They just have to go the length of the field. And we did that 5 times within a 2-minute span.
That game was the ultimate. The Chargers are going to Charger and the Bengals are going to Bengal. Like they all did it.
Have you ever seen How I Met Your Mother, the Thanksgiving episode with the blitz? And it's like the bad luck guy. And when it transfers from one person to another, it's like the blitz. That on Sunday night was the Chargers, who, as you mentioned, always quote unquote charging. They did the blitz and handed it to the Bengals, who now always lose close games this year. The blitz. It went right across the field at SoFi from Justin Herbert over to Joe Burrow. And they got blitzed.
You know what else I love seeing in that game is J.K. Dobbins, another option that the Cowboys could have had at running back.
Could have had him, could have had Derrick Henry, who took J.K. Dobbins' spot, could have quite literally had anybody, could have had Saquon Barkley.
Braylon Allen.
Could have had Joe Mixon, who scored 3 touchdowns against you on Monday night. So, yeah, a lot of different options. Let me know if at any point you can have the Cowboys rant. Okay. Now, later. Well, I think we should keep sticking around the NFL.
Let's just keep going around the NFL, and then we'll get to
another one. So we'll talk teams on the up and up. Chargers for sure. I feel like they're done charging. It does feel like a black cloud evaporated from around them. Another team that's low key playing well. The Steelers are 8-2. I think every week you and I should play a new game called did the Steelers actually win? And I'll just list facts from the game, and you tell me, does this sound like a team that won a football game?
Was their last loss to the Cowboys?
I think it was. Because I think they had a loss early in the season.
Yeah.
And then the Cowboys.
Lost to the Cowboys. What that feels like it was 3 years ago.
It does. It really. That game was delayed, remember?
Yes. Oh, I remember.
Storms. It was still like hot outside kind of, so they had thunderstorms. So Eagles Steelers on my birthday this year should be entertaining, to say the least.
Where is that game?
In Philadelphia.
I mean, you should be going to that game on your birthday because you technically should have been a Steelers fan. And
this is true.
So that's like your perfect game, just like Notre Dame playing at Yankee Stadium this weekend, I should be at.
But you definitely should be at that game. That is as close as Notre Dame gets for you. I do have a birthday plan that we will be discussing, you and I.
Okay.
You have a shot at redemption from last year.
Am I okay? I am invited. I need
are.
See, once you have children, Aiden, especially once you have more than one, I have 2 and I have a wife. So I need like 3 months advance notice.
I'm giving you a whole month. I'm giving you a
That's
month.
why I have.
I'm
If
giving
you
you a
see
week for
back
each
here,
child
if
and wife.
you're watching on YouTube, I have a calendar right here. I know it looks empty, but that's because I didn't know if I was going to have a job, so it's not as heavily. But that is for not only I knowing what I'm doing, but that's for my wife in terms of work, in terms of personal. She's like,
Recorded
"When are you?"
podcast.
I just say, "Look at the board.
Look at the
Look at
board.
the board." Okay,
I
so I
wish it
need
was
to
that
put it on the
organized
board.
that I
I
have
need to
one.
put it on the board.
Hey, listen, my friend's coming. He has a kid and a
Hmm.
wife. So
Okay. Well,
he's in.
one kid.
One child.
Okay, I have two, so that
Well,
ups the game.
no. Listen, gave you a whole month.
She might be like, yeah, you can go, but you have to bring the toddler with you. Okay.
Well, they got to have their first Eagles tailgate eventually. It's
Oof.
not a bad time for
Okay.
Uncle Aiden's
Okay.
birthday party to be the
I'm in with
first
that.
one.
But if it's an Eagles tailgate type party, I may be told to stay home for the birthday party with the children, and Lisa will go.
Lisa gets to come
Yes.
and you watch the kids at home.
Yep.
You watch on Red Zone. We'll
Yep.
we'll hold it down at Laker
Perfect.
Financial Field. Yeah.
Perfect.
We'll see how that goes. So Eagles, Steelers,
Huh?
12:15. That's a Sunday.
Oof.
So put that up on the board. I've got
Put it
it
on the board.
circled for the Eagles. You put it on the family board.
Perfect.
We'll play the game. Did the Steelers actually win? I'm just gonna list facts that happened in the game. You tell me, did the Steelers win this game? The
Okay.
Steelers did not score a touchdown on Sunday against the Ravens.
Yes,
They
they won this
had
game.
they, they had a receiver who got a gain of 3 yards on 2nd and 10 and signaled first down.
Yes, they won the game.
They had a backup quarterback who slid a yard short of the sticks in a crucial fourth quarter situation to give the ball back to the rival with a chance to score.
And
Did the Steelers win this game?
didn't he signal first down too?
I think he did as well. Okay, another one. Did multiple Steelers players signal first down when coming up well short of the line to gain? Did the Steelers win?
Yes.
I think we could just play that game every
Oh,
week because it's the second time this year that they have won without scoring a touchdown and just putting up
unbelievable.
18 points by kicking field goals.
It's unbelievable, especially in that stadium.
They are so old school Big Ten West with
Mhm.
like Wisconsin and Iowa. When
Iowa.
you'd
Yep.
be watching a game and you're like, okay, it's 13-10 here on ESPN2. That's every Steelers game.
No chance we're seeing. Speaking of ESPN and college football, did you see the kick, the Pat McAfee kick on?
Yes.
And what a brilliant call by the girl
Oh my
who
God.
got
Yeah.
the ticket.
Yeah, that's so smart. So she finds this kid who nails the kick. First of all, that wasn't even
That-
no doubter. Nails
Like-
down the middle, looked perfect. So he drills it, and then she splits the money, and they give 600,000 to charity, and they're heroes.
They each got 200 grand.
They got 200 grand, and then 400 grand to charity.
Well, no. It was 800 he brought it up to. So 400 to charity, and they got 400 to split. So they each got 200.
200 each. There you go. College paid for. Done. One kick. She was smart. That was a good call.
Yep.
Both of them.
She's like, I know I can't do this. So she's like, kid's like, I can hit it.
I love how that kid, usually it's like you can tell most times, like, yeah, there's no shot. This person's making it.
Yeah.
Him, he was kind of like quiet. I was like, he's
Yep.
one of the quiet kids. He
Yep.
might actually be legit, and he was.
Yep. Looked like kind of little dorky almost, and he just was just like, I was like, yep, this kid's gonna hit it. And as soon as it left his foot, I was like,
Yeah,
I was like,
there
oh
was
my
no
God.
doubter.
Yeah.
Also, back to NFL, because this ties into that kick. Get him in on an NFL team. I have
Yep.
no statistical evidence to back this up, but all kickers are just bad now. Every game I watch, it's a kicker pulling it and hooking it left every
Yeah, I
time.
mean-
I don't know what is going on.
I could not believe watching your guy Elliott miss 2 the other night. I was just like, something's going on. I mean, something's going on across the league. Even Brandon Aubrey missed one. I mean, he slipped, and Joe Buck also called him Mr. Automatic right before. So that was a culmination of issues.
Yes, they had that The Mr. Automatic definitely
But
did
hey,
that.
at least we went for another fake punt and came up 5 yards short.
Also, the time that they did make the field goal and then Derek Barnett got hit with a helmet slap
Yep.
penalty, which I've never
Mhm.
even heard of before, but Derek Barnett finds new ways to be penalized all the time. And then the Cowboys went for it on 4th down, just did not
I have
get it.
never
So
seen
took the 3 points off the board.
I've never seen an adult male throw a football with such non-power coming from his arm, and that's the second game in a row that they've had Brian Anger throw the football. Now, I will say Wanye Thomas, who caught the football and immediately went down, said he called it at the line for them to go for the fake, so it wasn't on McCarthy or Bones Fossil, but still, it's like first drive of the game. Okay, great, guys. This is awesome.
I could never have that power that Wanye Thomas has where I have the ability and the power to
You
call
would
it at the
call it every
line.
play.
I'd call it once a game. He did it on the first drive. That'd be me. I'd be like, listen, there's no way they expected first drive. I
Meanwhile,
would
he
come
just
out against the Commanders this week and do the same thing. I was like, there's no way they think we're gonna do it
that
3 straight games.
football, the arc of the football was so slow. By the time Wanye caught it, they were just, oh God. And
Yeah.
I got to tell you, the Texans didn't even look like a great football team the other night, and they just mollywopped the Cowboys.
They don't. I think it's time to have an honest conversation about the Texans, who are probably going to make the playoffs, but have clearly not taken that next step to be Bills or Chiefs.
And I
Like,
feel like
maybe that changes by the end of the year, but there is nothing about watching them. As a team who just played the Cowboys and then saw the Texans, I'm like, all right, we struggled in the first quarter, man. We just all out avalanched them. Texans never really
and
did.
we expected them to be like the cool team this year too, you and
Yes.
me. And
We
like
thought
I get
it
it,
would
like
be
Diggs
like,
is in there, but like I the vibes just seem off. Like I get it. Nico Collins was out. He's back. And that how about that? The first play of the game when Nico Collins took it like 74 yards for a touchdown, but it was called back. I was praying. I was like, please just be against the Cowboys. Just please let the game start like this.
yeah, just
It's
one
too
play,
perfect.
boom, done. Yeah, let's end it. Let's be done with this forever.
I
Uh,
the funniest part too, and I know this is the part of the show where we just rant. Um, is that, and this is just how the microcosm within the season of the Cowboys. They open the roof. The Cowboys Twitter account, Instagram account put out a video like the roof is open. This is the best night. And then a piece of sheet metal falls off, and they're like, "Gotta close the roof." It's like
there
literally nothing is working. They
the
put
PR
white towels on the chairs, and half the white towels were shown all game because no one came, and the ones that did come were Texans fans.
the social media team is the scene in Succession when what the son is just watching the emails pour in and he's like, shit. That's them looking at the replies to every single tweet.
Can you imagine if that piece of sheet metal hit somebody
No, thank God.
or a
That's
player?
literally like 1,000 ways to die, final destination level death. If a piece of sheet metal fell from the top of the stadium.
While we're doing this, I need to show you the messages. If you're watching on YouTube, my wife just sent me. Read those out from the from right here.
And why are we yelling?
Why are we?
Cowboys suck. Don't be so dramatic. Luckily,
She
she
can hear me
can't
in the
hear
other
me.
room.
I feel like I'm much louder than you are.
So
That-
that
Lisa,
is
why are
the
we yelling? We have birthday plans.
yeah,
Her
exactly.
and I and the rest of the group. Kevin has babysitting plans.
But that piece of sheet metal falling is just, I think maybe that was a piece of Jerry's soul just falling down and leaving Earth.
Like a Horcrux, because there's no way he actually hasn't split his soul into 8 pieces to deny evil killing him.
And you saw what the Houston Texans tweeted out after the game?
Yeah, that was very funny. That I saw one other one that I wanted to bring up to you. That was like a social media graphic. It wasn't Cowboys Texans related, but it was really creative and funny. But also that one, the L made out of sheet metal. It was pretty funny.
Falling from the I
It's great. Here, I'll
the-
I'll do my Cowboys rant and then we'll be out of the way and we'll finish around the NFL. The Cowboys have played a bunch of national televised games. In my entire life, that has infuriated me because we get force fed that team under the guise of they are America's team, brother. But I've never seen them play in an NFC championship, never seen them in a Super Bowl. Now I'm like, put them on national television as much as humanly possible.
Because you want to enjoy it.
Not just enjoy it, but I think we can be done with this. Like, we can just be done with this if we continue to show the circus isn't down. So you go back to the Eagles game, they get blown out at home on national TV, and the
Yep.
biggest talking point is about the direction of the sun, which has never changed, and blinding their own receiver, and then the owner talking about the moon afterwards. You fast forward less than a week, they do a celebrity boxing match between the dumbest YouTuber of all time and a actual senior citizen. And for that, they put sheets up over curtains over the windows for celebrity boxing. 2 days later, the team plays. Sheet metal falls from the sky. Quite literally, the sky is falling on this team, and then they get blown out again at home. But this is perfect because now everyone sees the circus, and enough is enough. This is not 53 men and their coaches working towards success on a football field. This is one billionaire owner in this for entertainment and that purpose alone, to drive profits. And the more we see it, the more we can be done with it. I don't need to see the Cowboys on nationally televised games 9 times next year because they're America's team. It's one guy and his profits.
And me as an old man with 2 kids, I'm all for that because I fall asleep now at
Play
night
to
game.
one. Yeah.
So I'm fine. Yeah. Kirk Herbstreit during College Game Day. Second time we're talking about College Game Day today.
It was a good
Also,
college game.
when they plugged the Monday night game, Reese Davis was saying Monday night Cowboys Texans in a Lone Star State rivalry, and Kirk just in the middle is like, just keep putting them on primetime games, and they're just gonna keep losing football game. Like, he was like just crushing them, and I'm like,
Yes.
okay.
Yes.
Yeah, I agree. I am in full agreement with this. It's just, especially this team right now. Like, can they flex out of Thanksgiving? Like, can we flex someone into Thanksgiving? Like, it's going to be Cooper Rush and Danny DeVito. I know it's Tommy DeVito, playing against each other at the primetime game on Thanksgiving.
Crazy. Not only can we not flex out of that, I'm sure you've seen this for anybody who hasn't. They can't be flexed out of their Monday night football game against the Bengals because they are doing a Simpsons broadcast, and they've already done the animation for the Simpsons broadcast featuring the Cowboys. So we are stuck with the Cowboys Bengals on that Monday night football game. Like, that is perfect. Like, perfect. This is perfect. I want this to happen. I want the league to have to eat this.
Did you hear CeeDee Lamb's quote after the game?
No.
He said, "Everyone's trying to embarrass us this year."
Well, you're doing a pretty good job on your own.
Like, yeah. And then a day later, Micah Parsons is on his podcast is saying that they are a damn good football team.
No.
Just read the room. Nobody in that organization can read the room, right? It's Jerry can't, Steven can't, the players can't. It's just, it's over, Johnny. Like, 3-7 at this point. I've said it. Say what you want about me. Call me what you want. I want them to lose every single game. At this point, you should be rooting for some Cowboys wins. I want them to lose every single game so that the next coaching staff has a top 5 pick. Right? You know what's crazy too? And you and I spoke of this last week. They're 3-7 right now, and they're in the 9th slot to pick.
Yeah.
Like, they're not even picking the best year to be terrible.
At a quarter of the league is horrible. Like, it's bad.
That is also what's perfect about them. They are horrible in the worst year to be horrible.
They can't even tank. There's just no doubt in my mind that Giants Cowboys game turns into a shootout, and both fan bases are screaming, "No, don't score! What are you doing?" Like,
all of a
they're
sudden
looking
the
at
Cowboys
the
win,
talent
and now
in
they're
college,
12th.
and they're just like, "Okay, great. We won on Thanksgiving against Cooper Rush with Tommy DeVito. So now we're right back where we started. We're picking 12."
And now, now I have to deal with listening to the regular stuff about Mike McCarthy and the Cowboys and Jerry Jones, but now I got to listen to Belichick or Deion Sanders for the next 4 months. Like that, it's just,
Yeah.
it's not going to be either of them, guys. It's going to be Kellen Moore. I've told you this.
Oh,
I've told you this. Kellen Moore will be the next head coach.
I hope not. It'd be great to have like 2 straight years for once for Jalen Hurts where he had the same offensive coordinator. But I think it's going all the way back to high school now. Since it was literally his dad the last time he had the same offensive coordinator twice. It'd be
That's
great to
insane.
just like for once have the same guy.
They just, you know, they got a lot of injuries too. They lost Marquise Bell this week too. It's like at this point too, Deron Bland hasn't played, so do you just shut him down for the rest of the season? There's going to be there's a lot of question marks. There's not a lot of answers. I was saying that I thought that if they lost to the Giants on Thanksgiving, then that would be the end for Mike McCarthy. It would be too embarrassing for Jerry. Now I think it doesn't matter because it's Cooper Rush versus Tommy DeVito. So even if you do lose that game, it's like, okay. I'm apathetic again. It's just I went to sleep. I went to sleep during the Cowboys game, and then I watched the highlights after, and it's just like I am the type of fan that I will stay up till 4 a.m, like the Steelers game. That I do a podcast about this. It's just they're just so infuriatingly dull and boring and just bad. They're just such a bad football team in every possible way. They don't coach well. They don't own well. They don't run well. They don't tackle well. They don't apparently maintain their stadium well. They don't do anything well.
They don't even build a stadium well.
The only thing they do well, and they're not even good at that, is talk.
Yeah,
that's it.
Talking usually gets them in trouble too.
Yes.
Yeah, like you said, there's something worse than anger towards a team, and it's apathy. It's not caring. And
like, what do you feel for the Sixers right now?
I was just about to go there. It's like we are trending on apathy for that team. Honestly, the article that came out actually made me mad. It's like it's good to feel something with this team. It's
about
like,
the Maxey and Embiid.
Yeah, just I said this, and everything you said, where it's like they're not good at anything top down. That's what I said yesterday about the Sixers. Like this isn't one star player being late to practice. This is a ownership, GM, coaching staff, players from top to bottom, just systemic loser culture, which I'm sure is exactly how Cowboys feel. So everything you were saying, I was like, yeah, that sounds exactly what I said about the Sixers.
Yep, they're just a bunch of losers.
Yeah,
Washington, they are a 10.5 point underdog to Washington.
We did another fantasy football live stream last night, and people were asking me defense, and I was like, Commanders. If you can get your hands on the Commanders defense, you give up some of your fab budget and go get them. Because I've had the defense playing the Cowboys in fantasy the past 2 weeks. I got 20 plus from the Eagles and 17 from the Texans. It's just, and if that offensive line is banged up, dear Lord. And Marshawn Lattimore might play.
Yeah. And that, speaking of you're going to get turnovers, and you're not going to get a lot of yards against you or touchdowns. One thing that I am sad about in this season right now that I'm not apathetic about, I am actually upset about, is how Zach Martin's going out right now. He's looked horrible all season. He's got to be playing through something. He was throwing up on the sideline the other day. It's done. It's over. And it's really, really sad because he was thank God it's not Johnny Manziel pick. He was the one time Jerry didn't do the crazy thing. He actually did the practical thing, and he signed a Hall of Fame guard, drafted a Hall of Fame guard. And I've loved watching him play. He's a warrior, played through injuries, played through everything, and seeing it go down like this sucks.
Brutal. Yeah. I will also say this, time flies because I feel like Manziel and the Manziel college era was 2 years ago. The fact that we're now talking about people in his draft class like Zach Martin being like, man, this is the end. Like that's crazy to think about, but it's been almost a decade. It's crazy.
It's wild. So, but besides that, I mean, the other part of this that I don't understand at this point, the only person really that anybody in the Cowboys fan base wants to see is Trey Lance.
I don't get
and he's the one person who didn't play the other. Brian Anger threw a pass the other night again, and Trey Lance didn't take a snap.
No,
What do we do? Like, we know what Cooper Rush is. It's not good. Okay. And everyone keeps, he went 4-1 a couple of years ago. He went 4-1. Okay. That I was
Well, he's 0
25
2.
once. Okay. I was single once. I used to be fun once. I'm not anymore. Okay. So Cooper Rush is not that. That defense also carried that team to that 4-1. If people want to really remember, Cooper Rush did play well. He brought him back in the Vikings game. He had that great touchdown to CeeDee Lamb when CeeDee was a rookie. But like, let's move to now. I get it. Trey's not great. They must see him in practice, and it must
He
be
must be
either
bad.
like really bad or they're just so dug in their heels. But you gave up draft capital for this dude. Let's just see it.
You think it'd be a win-win because if he plays and he clearly just needs playing time to at least see, and if he becomes a very viable backup quarterback,
Mm-hmm.
especially for Dak, who has had 2 season-ending injuries. He also had a finger injury, I think, at one point that cost him 6 weeks too. So
They're trading Dak now. Didn't you know they're bringing in Shador Sanders and
Shador
Dion?
Sanders and
Yeah,
Dion's gonna coach. Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
So
Uh, true. My bad. So Trey Lance will be backing up Shador, but in the off chance that it just doesn't work and he doesn't develop, it probably means you're losing. In which case, yeah, sign up for that. It just helps.
I and I guarantee you, if Jerry's all about eyeballs, and if you announce Trey Lance is going to be starting on Thanksgiving, or you don't even have to do it like this week, Commanders, or if you want it on the road, more people will tune in to see that the first time at least.
I do think so. The short week is rough, but I think you can start to put it in this week where you start Cooper Rush on the road, and then you have the home game.
Yes.
It sucks because it's a short week, but I think that would be the likely spot for Trey to start, especially if the Commanders cover the 10.5 point spread and you lose again and you're 0-3 with Rush. You kind of have no reason not to go with Lance. The season's
Yep.
over. Like we just talked about, like it's a win-win. He's either good and develops or no, and you get a better draft pick, maybe because everybody else is bad too, apparently.
Yep. Yep.
But yeah, so I think Thursday against the Giants, even on a short week, would probably be the likely time.
They have not won a home game in the calendar year of 2024.
That is remarkable because it goes all the way back to the playoff game.
And the funny thing is like leading into that playoff game with the Packers, and I will continue to say this: the Packers game still has not ended. Like, it has bled into everything.
It is kind of
Um,
crazy how much has happened since then.
but like I remember leading into that game and that week, and all fans wanted to talk about was like, this is they don't lose at home. They never lose at home. They're undefeated at home. They're so good at home, and they got walloped at home, and they haven't won since at home.
The
And
graphic
it's
was quite mean that they put on Monday Night Football. It was like time leading at home, and it was like 2 minutes. That was, and the curtains sinking on them. I was like, these graphics are mean. We brought back the old school. Remember that one year when ESPN just had the most
oh
insane Monday Night Football graphics?
yes,
But
yes,
everybody loved them. They were
yep,
ridiculous, but they were
yep.
great.
So I mean, please just do whatever we can do to just lose.
Yeah.
And if and show us Trey Lance. It's funny, they like finally announced this week that Rico Dowdle's a starting running back. It's like, thanks.
They really died with Zeke Elliott. Like they
like,
gave as many possible options as they could.
oh God. All right. Let's talk about the Eagles a little
Let's
bit.
talk about the winners. The winners. Yeah.
Stranglehold on this division now. That was that. The more I think about that Commanders game, that really was such a big win.
It was a huge win in how they did it, really shutting down a offense that was great.
Mm-hmm.
Taking over in fourth quarters with late game execution, forcing turnovers in big time. If it weren't for, I love Jake Elliott, and I told you all kickers are just bad now, so maybe it's just the curse over the league. If he doesn't miss those field goals and extra point, I mean,
Oh, it's
they're up
not
by
even.
3 possessions with
Yep.
5 minutes to go. Like that
Yep.
game, we were losing at halftime, and it's one of those where it's like, this doesn't even feel close. Like they
Yep.
were putting up, there was a graphic, I touched on it on the post game. There was a graphic they put up in the fourth quarter, and we were losing like 7-6, and we had 350 yards of offense, and they had 164. And I'm just like, how are we losing?
Yeah, this
So
makes
the
no
way
sense.
they finished strong was huge.
Hmm. Yeah, and like I was watching this game, and it was the same sort of thing. I was like, even when they were losing, I'm like, they're not losing this game. Like it was,
No,
I never felt confident in Washington.
No, it definitely never felt that way. And a lot of things that you can carry in the formula for the rest of the season. If we're making like the Powder Puff Girls, we're like one ingredient away, and it's the anticipatory throws from Jalen Hurts. If he really struggled, and he struggled before, there's a reason he gets blitzed a lot. It makes him process quicker and read the field and anticipate quicker.
Yep.
That's always been the case. It was so bad in the first half. I thought he was concussed before he got checked for a
Yes.
concussion. It's
Yes.
never great when you're like, my quarterback must be brain dead the way he's throwing the
Yes.
football right now.
Tua Tagovailoa over here.
Yeah, exactly. Like he was, and I did genuinely like seeing those hits on the end around that we did, and then on the play near halftime. I
I thought
genuinely
he was
did
going to
think
be
he
out.
got concussed.
I 100% was like, yep, he's not coming out of the locker room.
No, I took a shower at halftime and talked myself into Kenny Pickett leading the comeback. So that's where we were at coming out of halftime, and then they won by double digits, and just blew them away in the second half.
The opposite of my life.
Yeah, exactly. You're the team that we turn on the. It was like you guys are like the in NCAA when it's like a 2 versus 15 in the first round,
Yes.
and they're like, oh, they're keeping it close, and then at halftime the two team gets chewed out by their coach, and like, all right, you got to turn it on now, and then they
Let's
win
go.
by
Yeah.
25.
And then like what
Yeah,
happened? Like even in the beginning, like the Cowboys were like in the game with the Texans, and then it was like, no, bye.
yeah, and
Bye.
Texans, we need to start a dialogue.
Uh-huh.
But
Uh-huh.
for
You're
the
starting it.
Eagles, huge game this week. It's a fun game. I love that Rams team. They're kind of they're like one of those like alligators, crocodiles just waiting in the water
Yep.
down there in the swamp, ready to get muddy. In that NFC West, I think they're a good team. It'll be the biggest test that our young guys face. Quinyon Mitchell and Cooper DeJean going against Puka and Cooper Cup. You know, move him around and in the slot. Like this was what Cooper DeJean was pretty much drafted for. And then Quinyon on the outside against Puka Nacua. Like this could be a real welcome to the league type of moment. If they
Yep.
shine this week, I think we're in prime time again. We're talking real defensive rookie of the year situation here for Quinyon.
Yes. Yes. Agreed. He is doing everything his tape leading into the draft showed.
Correct. Everything we saw, we were like, wow, I really love these measurables. Wow, I love his athleticism. Then you watch it and you're like, oh, wow, that is absolutely exactly what's happening out there on the field. Like it's translating really well. And hey,
Again,
I think
draft process
overall,
came. We were sitting here. I'm like, is he really going to fall to them?
yeah, this has been multiple years now where we've done a draft stream together and you're just counting the picks and you're like, wait, I think this guy's going to fall to him. Which leads me to my next guy. As we play the Rams, the next Aaron Donald in this league plays for the Eagles in Jalen Carter. Oh my God.
Yeah, he's a beast.
Him and Quinyon so far, I think, and Saquon, I know it's a little bit different circumstances. They're better than advertised, which is hard to believe.
Yes. Yes. Which is scary.
And
it also took some. Quinyon was right away. I feel like Jalen Carter also had an impact last year, but people, because of the name, because where he was drafted, they expected it to be right away, and I think it was a little bit more delayed. But now we're seeing
big time.
all
three, honestly, all four Georgia guys. Like it took some
Yeah.
time, and it's kind of the culture we live in. Like our attention spans, mine barely lasts a minute of a TikTok video these days. So we want instant results from these guys. Nolan Smith is a great example of we knew when he drafted him, they flat out told us great raw athleticism, one of the fastest guys you'll ever see at that position in terms of like his burst and his sideline to sideline speed. He is undersized. This will take some time for him to develop. Well, we're a year and a half in, and he has 4 sacks in 5 weeks. It's happening right in front of our eyes, which is like great to see. That it's the definition of like a hard work paying off, which is a cool thing to see in pro football.
Yep, agreed.
And his sack where he gets up and hugs Brandon Graham is like the opposite blitz. Then it becomes like he's handing off the powers back over to Nolan Smith because Brandon Graham was a project and everybody wanted Earl Thomas. And now he's going to go down as our most like tenured Eagle of all time.
of all time. Yeah. I think that conversation can be over.
Yes, he Jersey Hall of Fame,
Oh,
Eagles
yeah.
Hall of Fame for a fact. He's
Yep.
still putting up great reps too.
He is. He
It's
is.
hilarious.
It is.
They
I
like
would take him on the Cowboys right now.
I was gonna say he's great, and this is a game where you're gonna have to get over after the quarterback. I think the formula against the Rams and Matthew Stafford has always been the same since the Lions days. Is like he is a great quarterback, but
Mhm.
the formula is always making him stand back there and throw it 55 times.
Yep.
That Kyron Williams had a rough week this past week, but they still threw for over 400 yards. But the formula remains the same. It is limiting early down yardage in the terms of quick passes, in the terms of Kyron Williams getting rushing success, and forcing Matthew Stafford to throw it on
Throw
third
the
and
ball.
9 for 60
Yep.
minutes straight.
Yep. I'm predicting 2 interceptions this week, one from Reed Blankenship and one from Quinyon Mitchell.
Okay, I thought you were going to go Cooper DeJean and Reed Blankenship, which reminds me, I did purchase my exciting white shirt.
You did.
Yeah, I'm
How much
excited.
did that run you?
It ran me $35.
Okay.
Money well spent. I would
You'll
do it
see
again.
it in you'll see if you got it from Fanatics, you'll see it in February.
It was like
Like an
I
Etsy site.
wasn't gonna buy it because I didn't trust it, but then Cooper DeJean tweeted out the link to the shirt. I was like, well,
Okay.
he bought it as the exciting white.
Yes.
Me as the less exciting white could probably buy from the same link.
Can we make a shirt with the two of us that says less exciting whites?
Wow, that's a great idea.
Birds versus boys.
Birds versus boys, the less exciting whites who talk about the exciting whites. Birds versus
would
boys,
be-
the less exciting whites who would be the exciting whites if their athletic careers had lasted longer.
Exactly. Semi exciting whites.
The semi exciting whites. Birds versus
love
boys, a podcast.
That's what we're changing the show name to.
We can make some good graphics and t-shirts out of that.
We should actually find some like less exciting whites in the NFL and put them on a shirt that says less semi exciting whites.
I have a few. Andrew Sendeo, the safety from the Vikings. It's a great one.
Yes. I'm trying to think who else.
I wouldn't put Ertz in there because I think he's somewhat exciting. He gets open a lot.
No.
And at the tight end position, a lot of the white tight ends are awesome. They're exciting. Trey McBride hops over somebody.
Trey
every week.
McBride's a beast.
Yeah.
I'll
Christian
think about
McCaffrey's too much fun.
Yeah.
Would Adam Thielen count as less exciting?
Oh, yes. 100%.
Yeah, because he's good, but he's always like on bad teams.
Yes. And
So
he's
he's
just
always he's getting you 4 receptions for 64 yards every week with a bad quarterback.
Yep.
He'd be less
Yep.
exciting.
That's perfect.
Yeah.
Or even like we could do the quarterback version too with like Sam Darnold.
Yep. Brock Purdy.
Brock Purdy. Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
Perfect. Semi exciting whites.
Semi exciting whites. There was also, I don't know if you saw this, Dalton Connect Austin Reeves threw an alley oop to Dalton Connect last night.
Oh, yeah.
Everyone was like, was this the first ever all white alley oop? Big week for the exciting whites.
Oh, so funny. So funny. Yeah, I'm actually really looking forward to this game. All the aspects of it at SoFi. Eagles fans always travel out there really well too. I think it's going to be, and I think the Eagles are going to step up to I think we're going to see the speed of their team brought to light in this game.
I think you make a great point, and all great points altogether, because I think the Eagles have played great games against the Rams. Even last year came down to the last possession and was back-to-back Hassan Reddick sacks who sealed it. So, hey, maybe Bryce Huff back-to-back sacks to end it this week. Who knows? He got some good snaps. Again, he's playing with that club on his hand, but he had some good snaps. And you're right. I think at SoFi, under the lights in primetime, and just the surface itself, it allows for speed. And I think that's kind of what you're looking for this week. It was it was kind of a slugfest for a while. You got to get back to getting the skill position guy. Like Devontae Smith should never have 2 receptions for 14 yards, followed by 4 receptions for 29 yards. Like that's not good enough. And he had 7 targets and he was open and we missed him. And same with AJ Brown. Like those guys should be feasting. And AJ Brown had a huge game against the Rams last year. So yeah, I think if it would not shock me at all if it ends up very similar to the game that we played against the Rams last year.
Yep. I think it's going to be fun. It's going to be exciting. It's going to be what primetime football should be.
Yeah, I if it comes down to a similar game to Bengals Chargers on Sunday Night Football a week ago, I would not be shocked. I think it'll be a really good game. And I want to credit the Eagles for doing things that seem like basic coach speak, but really make a difference in one possession games and make a difference against a Rams team like this.
Yep.
Where one thing that's been sticking out, they're a really sound tackling team now. It doesn't help the league that the NFL made it legal for the Eagles to clone Zach Bond and have 3 of him on the field at all time and play 13 on 11. But that did happen, and you can't convince me otherwise. Great tackler. N'Kobe Dean, great tackler. You saw it in open space. Reed Blankenship, sound tackler. Even guys who have been knocked on it before, like Chauncey Gardner-Johnson, if you look at his tackle rate the first month versus this last month, night and day. So basic things like that go so far in these games against the Commanders, in the Rams, where it's like you're playing pretty good offenses and pretty good teams, but you're not playing the Lions or the Bills, right?
Yeah.
So I think that goes a long way in these games where, as much as it sounds like coach speak, they do a good job. Another thing, like offensive line assignment blocking, they do so well. There was one play, Mekhi Becton missed it, and he thought he was passing off a guy to Cam Jurgens. Neither of them took the guy, and he was just standing in the backfield for Saquon Barkley. And I thought to myself, it's so rare that we see that miscommunication on the line with this team. That it goes to show just like how much that matters and how
Yeah.
that opens things up for a dynamic back like Saquon Barkley. So those things are cliche, but the Eagles are doing it so well, and that's the difference between 2-2 to now 8-2.
And those are the little things that are like you said, are the difference between the end of last year to now.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah,
it's
last year
just
was a
like
team that got lost in coverage a lot, missed tackles. Remember Kaylee Ringo hit a guy in that Seahawks game? He was like, I don't remember the last time I heard pad smack from this team.
yeah,
Like, he did it again this year. He almost knocked the guy out. He hits people, man. And another thing, like just to go on the fundamental, just like this team has something that last year's team didn't have. On a punt, watch Sidney Brown and Kaylee Ringo and the way they run down that field. That is not a team that is going through the motions. That's
yeah,
fundamental winning football. I challenge everybody. I know it's not exciting to watch a punt return. Watch the way they bust their ass down the field on that. It's
yep,
awesome.
yep. It is,
That
and
shit matters.
it. I mean, we're seeing the microcosm of it compared to the Cowboys. I mean, we didn't see that all year. Those type of things, even when they weren't this bad.
Yeah, it's true, and that starts to you can get away with it for a while. We saw it the Eagles last year, and after a while though, it'll catch up to you. And
Yep.
they're doing a lot better fundamental things. I just wanted to call that out because you're in a stretch: Commanders, Rams, Ravens, where that matters a ton. And
And
you'll see
and
it
and you
again.
should call that out, especially because the coaching has been getting hammered for a long time there in terms of Sirianni, and now you see the little and I'm sure that's a kudos to Vic Fangio as well on the defensive side.
They called Sirianni a madman.
Yep.
Maybe he's just smarter than all of us. This has been like going back to the flower thing. Every year it feels like everyone thinks he's like Kanye before he actually was crazy. You're like, well, that music idea doesn't seem like it's gonna make sense. He's like, oh, by the way, this turned out to be a classic album. Like that's Sirianni now. It's like every time it's like maybe he's not crazy.
Yeah. Maybe,
But
or
yeah,
maybe
I
he's
think
just
that
crazy enough.
he's just crazy enough. Yeah, so it should be a great game. I'm really excited for it. This could determine defensive rookie of the year between Jared Verse and Quinyon Mitchell. I think if you look at odds, they're the top 2 right now. Quinyon doesn't have an interception yet this year. But again, people aren't throwing at him. Terry McLaurin had 1 reception last week because he's locking people down. So if they're not going to not throw it to Puka Nacua and Cooper Kupp. That's for damn sure. He's going to have some opportunities. He'll see 10. It doesn't matter if Jesus himself is guarding Puka Nacua. Stafford is slinging that ball to those two guys.
Yeah.
So I think it'll be a great game in that sense. They're going to sling it. It'll be fun. And the one thing, like I said, the one ingredient missing that we want to see this week, anticipatory throws from Jalen Hurts. If Devontae's open on a crosser, don't bail out of the pocket. Hit him in stride. If you do that, trust me, we're sitting 9-2.
Yep, agreed. And the Cowboys hopefully will be 3-8.
Yes, but yeah, literally, big divisional game. 1 o'clock though. 1 o'clock.
Yep,
that's exactly what you need.
Probably won't be watching, but I'll be watching.
You always have to.
Yeah, that's all I got. You got anything else?
No, I'm like I said, really excited for this game. Really excited for this stretch. Winning is addicting. You want to play right again. And one more thing, only West Coast trip. We don't need to get on a plane the rest of the year after this week.
That's crazy.
Win this game at 9-2, and first you get the rest of the year is freaking Baltimore.
That is completely crazy, actually. Mm-hmm. Thank you for watching. Thank you for listening to Semi-Exciting Whites here on the Birds vs. Boys network. You can find us anywhere podcasts are found: Google, Apple, Spotify, Stitcher. We are there, as well as anywhere you get your socials on the social media. We are on the TikTok. We are on Instagram. We're on Twitter, Birds vs. Boys /Semi-Exciting Whites. And right here on our YouTube page, make sure you smash that subscribe button after watching this. If it is your first time here, we're so close to 1,000, which is our goal to keep growing each week. So thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. If you are one of our regular listeners and watchers, thank you. We appreciate you all. And if you're new to the family, welcome. Make sure you also like and comment below. We love interacting too. Our producers, if you see anybody being rude, everybody on the TikTok comments, it's not us. Okay. It's one of the producers behind the scenes. Okay. We like to have fun with the people.
I made friends with the TikTok people.
See, that's what we do. Still need the TikTok login over here so I can learn how to tick the talks. All right, everybody. Thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. Lose, baby, lose.
Quignon and Cooper, you're invited to my Thanksgiving.
Chris Hansen here, and I'm going to need you all to take a seat right over there and check out Birds vs. Boys.
I think you're completely right here, and I hate it.
Yep. Hey, idiots. Stop doing dumb things.
I got 2 phones.
Upset alert. Upset alert. I might go insane.
I think you're already there.
There's no hope. Hope is gone.
If this was an AFC North podcast, we'd be done in 15 minutes.
Bob Hope.
I'm going to drink bleach.
That is?
Be the team you promised me you were going to be this year!
This is the Consciously Hopeful podcast.
I'll be watching.